Hello and welcome. I'm saying that like I'm doing one of my teaching classes. We are just about to go live in our Conscious Business Six Figures and Beyond class. So I will move into teaching mode in a second. But I get messages from time to time, and I just felt like I really wanted to put a video on my profile as opposed to kind of all the business stuff, just to kind of help join the dots into some of the posts, because I often get people quite upset with the kind of things that I post and the kind of things that I talk about. And everybody that knows me knows I'm quite unapologetic about that. This is something that I was very conscious of my mission, as it were, from a very young age. So really, 12 onwards. And for me and many people like me, you kind of struggled in the school system and struggled with various different things. But that's kind of not the point of the kind of message I wanted to sort of talk about today. Now, we're in this funny time where the world's kind of split in two. We've got the people that believe everything that they see, they watch the news, they read the newspapers, look at the articles, and take the data and believe they're making an informed decision. And then we've got the other half where we're all, no, not buying it, no, 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 no. And we all look at the bigger picture, the agenda, and other things going off. That causes a rift, like a lot of things do when people have differences of opinions. But I want to kind of stitch something together for you to sort of really kind of illustrate an example. So I share a lot of posts about conscious living. And so I'm very, very, very passionate about animal rights, human rights, planetary rights, and things across the globe. That is just something that I say that I was passionate about from very, very young. And I deliberately embarked on a journey of travels to places. I saw actually a friend post an article today about a Native American woman who'd been at, I think it was the Oscars or something. I'll have to find the post and share it. But and all that kind of stuff really resonates with me. When I was like, as soon as I was able to, and I was 21, one of the first things I did is spent a lot of time in tribal reservations and a lot of time with Indigenous peoples, because I've always felt that, and I have various tribal kind of ink work and stuff like that, because it's just something really, really close to my heart, that I've never been a fan of people. And when I say people, I'm going to qualify that. I'm not a big fan of the way we treat the planet, the way we treat each other, with the way we treat children, the way we treat animals. Now, I know there's going to be lots of people go, oh, well, I am vegan, or I am conscious, or I do sustainability, I am an amazing parent, and I'm sure you are. This isn't ever pointing a finger at an individual. When I share the things that I do it as a collective consciousness to shine the spotlight on all the areas where we're going, but we're failing that, we're not doing any good at that. That's really still got a lot of work to be done, because I don't believe that we should rest on our laurels and go, okay, well, we've come so far, we're a little bit better, let's just kind of kick back. I don't really see that. I feel like as long as things happen on our planets like racism and sexism and homophobia and people going to war and children being sexually trafficked and people being displaced and bombed and all the rest of it, all the rest of the travesties, you don't need me to list them. While all that stuff goes on, I don't think that anybody should turn a blind eye to it. And one thing that's really, really prevalent, I think, in consciousness, why it's such a passion of mine and a topic, is you are acutely aware of it day in, day out, even though you have your own life and your own issues and your own problems. And this is one of the problems in the way society has been created, because we're in this little kind of hamster wheel. So everybody has their own home and their own family and their own job and their own issues and their own problems and their own drama and their own whatever going off. Times that by 7 billion people on the planet, and you're all very busy. Fantastic. And we've all got things. And obviously, I dealt with entrepreneurs for a very, very, very long time, for years and years and years. And in all those times, I've come across the most awful, traumatic stories. So much sorrow, grief, loss, abuse, you name it. The stories are there. And I'd like to say that I don't get shocked anymore, but I still do. But the key thing about it is we have a choice. We have a choice, and we go, okay, do we take our individual past traumas, hurts, and upsets, and do we create and transmute something positive from it? Or do we continue to say, okay, well, I'm just going to work on my own little bit and kind of ignore what's going on there? Now, I know a lot of us give to charities, give to causes, and so on and so forth, and that's amazing, and so we should. But the thing about conscious living, conscious leadership, and conscious business, which I'll come to in a second, is the fact that it's like when I'm always sharing the things about the Bushido entrepreneur. The Bushido part is about living by a code. It's about a set of principles and characteristics and lifestyle that if you are kind of for want of a better word, sort of sworn into it, meaning you are taking a stand that this is going to be my character, it holds you to a higher accountability, and therefore it makes things less easier to turn a blind eye to. So I've had many people sort of comment to me about my personal feed. You have to share such horrible things. You have to be so upsetting. You have to be so direct, and so on and so forth. And I think there's probably lots of people out there that can do it in a kinder way. I'm sure they are. My background of 30 years in the martial arts as a master instructor, a dojo owner, I mean, I've just had a lot of yang training, plus it's my natural personality to be upset by these things. And if I'm upset, I will speak out. And when we look at mission-driven entrepreneurs, the thing everybody has in common is the cause and the mission is bigger than you. So most of us don't do it because we're trying to get likes, we're trying to get friends, we're trying to get people to kiss our asses. We're not doing it for any of those things. We're doing it because we're passionate about helping and making a difference in the world on something. And sometimes, yes, that's going to upset people. Sometimes that's going to be uncomfortable. Sometimes that's going to make us go, whoa, that's a bit of a statement. But all we can do with those things, I think, is to reflect inwards and go, okay, so how do I fare on that? Because never at any time would I ever post anything and say something like, well, I'm perfect and everybody else isn't. I can tell you for free, in the dojo, because we have teams of people with different specialities, all of us are always under the spotlight of picking something out and go, whoa, what's this? Let's get rid of that. Oh, this, I said this, I behaved like that. Whew, that's a no-no, that needs to go. It's a constant personal evolution. And you want that because really what you want to do is by the end of your life, you want to have self-actualized, and you want to be at your last breath able to say, I did it. Everything I wanted to do, I had a good damn go at. And I see too many people with that kind of thing of going, I'll stay comfortable, I'll stay this because I've got a mortgage to pay, or I've got this, or I've got that, I've got the other. And I think if you are truly happy and you feel that you are answering your calling and your mission, then perfect, stay put, of course. If you feel like actually there's this thing inside me that I really want to do, or I'm really magnetized over there and I can't help myself, I'll often say jokingly that you can take most mission-driven entrepreneurs and give them $10 million, stick it in the bank account and say to them, you've got a choice there, you don't have to work again. And every single person would go, cool, more money means I can help more people. People, there's just no way that we would stop doing what we're doing. Money is not the point of it. But the reason why this group that I keep posting things about is called Conscious Business Six Figures and Beyond is because you can't help anybody if you can't help yourself. So some of the key things there in terms of like the yin and yang of it is we're really passionate about conscious living because it's about what you put into your body for a start off, in what goes into your mind, and what are you absorbing from your environment. Those three things are key Because if, for any of you that have ever experienced negative people, if you've had food or nutrients that aren't good for you, if you are drinking, you know, crappy stuff rather than good clean water, if you are not doing any kind of training or you're not looking after your body, you know, you're going to get sick and you're going to get ill. And in my theory, it's like, how can you be the best that you can be if you are physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever you want to call it, sick? You can't. So conscious living comes at the baseline. We then move into conscious leadership, because conscious leadership holds us to certain principles. And some of those principles, just the same as Bushido, you could get a sheet of them and go, yeah, I do that, I do that. Yeah, I'm really into that. That one maybe a bit more. And you could go down the list and it wouldn't be mind-blowing necessarily. It wouldn't be like, oh my God, I've never heard of this before. But the key thing we like to look at inside a dojo is like, but do you embody it? Because any of us can get lots and lots of information, and we can get books and go to courses and audios and this and that and the other. We've got information overload. Fantastic. People go to college and universities and get PhDs all the time in regurgitating information. And I don't say that as a disrespect to people. I just mean that it's what they then go on and do with it that counts, not that first part of just absorbing information. It's how you then embody it and then what you actualize with it. So the key thing when we look at the leadership part is, how am I leading myself and then those around me? And then if I've got any part of a business, whether I'm an entrepreneur, whether I work in a company, however, those things, those two levels are going to create an energy system, a frequency, an ecosystem of frequency and vibration. And that's what you're going to resonate at. That's what you're going to attract back in. That's what you're going to put out. And then when we move up into that, when we get into sort of conscious entrepreneurship, that I just label conscious business because it's less of a mouthful. Conscious business is about people and the planet first. It's not about profits, not at all. It's the 3 Ps of people, planet, profits. And for the simple reason, if you want to help a lot of people, you're going to need some cash flow. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because it's just the way it is, at this particular time in the world, we have an energetic frequency called cash flow, and cash pays for things, money pays for things, whether that's digital, through banking, decentralization. I mean, obviously there's a whole heap of things going on about the financial systems at the moment, thankfully. But whatever, the point of the matter is, for most people and most of the world, unless you are completely off grid and self-sufficient, most people have to pay for a roof over their head, have to pay their amenities and utilities, and have to pay food. And then obviously if you start to get into luxuries, then people can afford cars and they can afford to kit the houses out and they can afford to go on holidays and clothing and so on and so forth. But they all cost. Now, if you apply that into your family and to your business, to be able to get out there and help as many people as you can, you need a roadmap for that. Yesterday when I was teaching something, I used a book as an illustration of something that I was talking about. And I just happened to grab my book. This is an old book. I'm not trying to, you know, sell my book or anything. It's just that I had it in my hand because I was demonstrating something. And then I thought about the first page, and on the first page, I mean, I don't do them so much anymore since COVID, but when I used to do a lot of talks, I would often read this first page because to me, it was a big catalyst into why you don't have any more time. So this page is called One. And I'm just going to quickly read it with this quote at the bottom, because the quote sticks with me all the time. There is only one you, one day that is today, and one lifetime like this one. So with your one, you can join with others and create the best life you deserve, you dream of, and you know in your heart is possible. Choose your friends, business partners, and co-creators carefully and deliberately, because you probably notice when everything is right, it just is, and you can instinctively feel it. Alas, when it's not, and things go awry, then nothing falls into place as it should do. You may be one, but you are all that is needed to make your indelible mark on the planet. You just have to decide what that might be. Think carefully, make those decisions, and take some serious action. There's a whole lifetime and to make all your dreams come true, but start you must. The quote by Michael Landon. Somebody tell us right at the start of our lives that we are dying. Then we might live life to the limit. Every minute of every day, do it, I say. Whatever you want to do it now. There are only so many tomorrows. Now, the reason why that's always been poignant to me is I'm sure, like many of you, you've experienced loss, you've experienced death of loved ones, you've experienced people that have left the planet probably a lot younger than they should have done. And most people have been through some form of trauma, stress, abuse, or something. It occurred to me when certain things happened to me when I was young and I lost a lot of people and I went through various things, that I actually had this kind of jolting thing that I was literally like, oh my God, I could die at any time. It put me onto a fast track where I couldn't travel enough, I couldn't do enough, I couldn't, I just couldn't cram enough in, because I was literally thinking, oh my God, I might die. Because my mum had this thing and people around her died of it and whatever. Anyway, but the point I'm getting to is it created this catalyst. That was no good because it actually made me ill. It backfired because I went too much on the yang pedal. Then I had to ease off it and learn the yin, and then I had to bring into balance. That's why we always talk about inspired action taking, and we also talk a lot about the mindful moments, the meditations, the kind of the conscious living part, because you've got to balance the two things very, very carefully. You need to take care of yourself and you need to take care of others and the environment. And then you also need to think about your energy and think about where you would like to apply it. Is what you're doing right now fueling you that every day you get up, you cannot wait to get on with it? Is it that you're at a plateau? Is it that you feel what you're doing is mediocre? Do you seriously feel like where you are right now, you want to stay like this till the end of your days? If you do and you've hit that sweet spot, then that's absolutely fantastic. And I'm really happy for you because it is quite hard. Most of us, from an entrepreneurial perspective, we kind of our own worst enemies because we get super excited about things and we're off to do this and we're off to do that and we're off to do the other. We have to kind of be brought back in to focus and finish a task in hand before we start off 25 other things. But the beauty in that is it keeps you forever young and it keeps you forever thinking and innovating, but wildly so, it also keeps you in the right circles. And I want to tell you a very quick story and then I'll jump off this. When I was, gosh, I cannot remember how old I was, but some mid-20s, and I was in the Team GB kickboxing squad. So as many of you know, I'm a master instructor, I've got triple black belts, blah, 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 blah. And I was going to Switzerland and had a broken foot. Now, I broke my foot in training, sparring training with a phenomenal kickboxing guy, and he didn't hurt me or anything. I tripped up myself and twisted my foot and some kind of kicking thing. Anyhow, I eventually went to the hospital with it, and the doctor said to me, well, I think, can you live without the martial arts? Because the martial arts can live without you. And I was like, okay. And he said, you've damaged your foot. It's probably not going to heal properly. And because of the way the bones are in your feet, every year you'll probably get arthritis. It'll probably cause you problems in the winter, etc., etc. So it was a bit of a doom thing. And I was only in my 20s. And I remember thinking, really? So the next day I went home and I thought, okay, so what would a different kind of athlete do about this? And where I happened to live at the time, there was a ice hockey team, and I thought, I know, I'm going to ring up the ice hockey people because they're always battered and they go out there. So I called them up, I spoke to one of the physios and they said, yeah, actually we can fit you in, whatever, because I said I was part of this other team, blah, blah, blah. So I went down there. They said the total and utter opposite. They turned around to me, looked at it and went, yeah, no problem. We're going to do this, 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 and this. Come back. I was literally going to go on a plane in like 3 or 4 days' time. And rather than going, oh my God, you're never going to get the plane and whatever, they said, no, it's fine. Do this, come back, do that, do the other. And they put me through this quick thing. And then by the time I was going, they strapped me up. They gave me all this kit. But the point is, they never once said to me, this isn't possible. You should just stay home and keep your foot up and rest. They fully supported me not dropping out the team and me not missing out on that opportunity. So they filled me with something completely different because they were used to pro athletes who were completely bust up all the time anyway. It was just par for the course. And the reason why this is so important and was such a really good mindset lesson for me and made me understand the power of team and the power of a dojo is because then I went back to my teammates. They all supported me. We all went away. We all had a fantastic time. And I came back with this massive cup. And I came back with a massive cup, not necessarily because of anything I did, but because my team had my back and they was barking at me. I had two coaches who were continually telling me what to do to work around my broken foot. And bear in mind, this is kickboxing. so my feet, my legs were kind of important. But they were just firing things. And because at the time I was coachable, it's really important. You've got to be coachable and you've got to be listening and you've got to have a positive mindset and you've got to put away what the naysayers are saying. So I came back with this lovely cup and I was happy. It was great, wonderful. And then I went to get on the plane and I had no idea why. I obviously thought it was a good idea at the time, but I was wearing two watches, one with the local time and one with UK time. I was swanning around some shop looking at makeup, probably perfume, whatever. And I got the call for the flight and I was like, oh my God, that's my flight. And I've nearly missed it. So I had to go hobbling to the gate. And luckily, because we was all part of a team, like Team GB and was all in tracksuits, they said, no, it's absolutely fine. We'll get you on these cart things because I was like hobbling along with my foot. So they chucked me on them little buggies and they drove that out across the tarmac and they got me onto the plane. Of course, all my team being like they were a bunch of rowdy guys, and they were, sort of laughing and taking the thing, what people do in teams. It was really, really funny, but because I was so late and because basically I messed up the takeoff time, there were no seats left. And so the captain came on the tannoy thing and said, we welcome, the team on here. And they said, and then one of the things, stewardess, she says to me, she says, oh, okay, because you've missed that and because you one of your teammates told us what you did or whatever, we're going to move you up to business class. So I was like hobble, and I was super happy. But the point of the story isn't about the fact that everyone got a standing ovation. It wasn't about that part. It was a realization in my head that I was like, interesting. Be very careful who you listen to. Be very careful what you believe is possible for yourself, and be very careful in who you put your trust in. And from that day forth, I've continued to be an ambassador for a dojo and for a team because I know that through my own journey, the exponential growth you can have with having certain people around you versus not. So going back to all the things that I post and all the things that I say is because I believe so wholeheartedly that everybody is born with some kind of mission. Now, don't get me wrong, your mission doesn't have to be Elon Musk, I want to go to Mars. It doesn't matter what it is. Your mission might be to look after your pets or look after your kids and be the best role model and the best parent, because you might be breaking generations of people in the past that have gone through trauma, abuse and things. You might be a generational pattern breaker. You don't know, this is the point, but what you do know is intuitively within you, what you feel you're here to do is exactly what you're here to do. And I honestly believe we all have a duty to really follow that through and spend as much time on that as possible and find the right people to help us. Now, you could be listening to this, you could look at any of our stuff and you might go, well, you're not the team for me, I don't like you, or whatever. And that's fine, we're not offended, because the thing, you have to like people. I say you have to like people. I've actually had experiences with instructors in the past. I actually didn't like them. I actually probably quite hated them. At certain times, there's certain things where I've been pushed. I've had moments in my head where I'll be like, going, I really hate you. I do not like you at all. But they've pushed me and I've got out the other side and I've been, oh my God, thank you for pushing me. because they saw a reality that I couldn't see for myself. And that is a gift. And that is something that we do for people all the time. So it never offends me actually when clients will jokingly go, I don't like you right now. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. It's fine. Because sometimes we self-doubt. Sometimes we think, oh, can I do it? Can I not do it? And entrepreneurs all the time suffer from this kind of thing. People call it imposter syndrome and all kinds of things. Some people are super bolshy, out there, full of self-esteem, full of self-confidence, but deep down they're kind of not, they're hiding it. And then you've got your other way around where people are really introverted and shy and have doubts, but deep down they're quite confident and competent in what they do. You get all different kinds of makeups of people, which is why we have a team that really holistically look at all the different things. And that's why often I'll say things like we work from the inside out, because your life, your business, your actualization is based on what is coming out from you internally. So that's why they say happiness is an inside job, because it's all an inside job. So if we want a better planet, and if we want to be able to fly freely and not be experimented on, if we want to have better things for our kids, then we need to step up and do it. There's no government, there's no pharmaceutical company, there is no super rich power elite family that's going to come down and do it for you. My personal belief is the conscious businesses, the conscious entrepreneurs are the tipping point in this century to creating a much more love-based planet. But in order to do that, we all have to step up to the plate and go, okay, what am I doing right now that I can improve on? And I do want to make this point really clearly before I jump off, is that none of it is ever about saying there's anything wrong with you. Nothing is about pointing any fingers at anybody. Nothing's about criticizing anybody. Nothing's about saying to people you haven't done a good enough job, anything like that. So it really annoys me when people look at things like personal development, spiritual development, any kind of leadership training and whatever, and they'll go, well, there's nothing wrong with me and I don't need fixing and all this kind of thing. It's not about that. It's about the fact that, you know, I did a session the other day with a lovely guy that works in our team, and I wanted to explore untapped potential. And I feel collectively there's a lot of untapped potential out there. And we went through some of the things that happened to me at school, which affected me, because when you are young and impressionable, as they say, and kids naturally are full of energy and full of vitality and they're into this and into that. And if you think about it, when people say things like racism's learned, it is. When things like dumbing down your dreams happens, it's because it's taught. Somebody somewhere on the lines has told you, eat meat, be mean to that group of people, dumb down your aspirations, get those grades. You only want to live in this zip code. You want to have that kind of career. You want to drive this kind of car. This is acceptable, that's not acceptable. This is tolerable, that's not tolerable. That is all being amalgamated into you some shape or how, you know, somehow. So for me, a lot of this stuff is about working out what is truly us and what is actually things that have been pushed into us by outside means. And when you know that you're truly you and you're truly free, so you don't actually give a monkey's what anybody else thinks, that's why people like me, I can just sit and talk like this all day and I can put out my stuff all day and I literally don't need to worry about, I care about the impact that we're doing, and I care massively about what we're doing as a business, as a company, and who we're helping and how we're helping, and all the different causes and charities and things we do. That is my main priority, but I don't care about how that looks on me, in the sense of you know, like the whole reality TV thing of that, people wanting to have, you know, having low self-esteem, so they have this need to pour things out on social media because they need to get something back from it. When your cup, when your well is full within, then you do not need anything without. What you then are clear about is the mission and the way you want to do it, and then nothing's going to stand in your way. So I know that was a little bit of a long little chatter, but I kind of felt like I just wanted to do more lives, because sometimes you post material and things, and people don't necessarily connect the dots with it. And for me, um, that topic never sleeps. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs, we are a little bit workaholic by nature. We are a little bit kind of, we can't drop it, we can't stop it, and actually we don't want to. So we are the kind of people that go on holiday but still attend meetings, and we go away but we're still writing in the journal, and we're still thinking ideas, and we're still on the phone, and we're still leaving voice messages. We just can't help it. And to be honest with you, I think that, I'd never want to. And it's like somebody said to me the other day, I can't remember how old they were in their 50s or something, they was wanting to retire, and I was like, retire? Retire? And I was like, oh no, God, no, I'd be like this till I'm like on my deathbed, still giving it some. And my kids would be like, oh yeah, they know, they'll go, yeah, well, you'll probably be in Tibet somewhere writing more books or whatever. And I was like, yeah, for sure, because there's a lot of wisdom in each decade you've been alive. There's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of things you've got to teach out there in your topics and your subjects. And you can create a conscious business out of absolutely anything. It's really powerful. So if you are any of those things above that I've talked about, and you'd like to come into the group, I'll find the link and stick it on below. But that really wasn't the point of me today. I wanted to read that page out of the book, and I wanted to really sort of show why all those posts are like that on the feed, because I know I get, quite a bit of stick for it, and it doesn't bother me, this stick. It's just more, it's just more, I don't like it that people think that just being upset about something is enough, because it's not. You can't just be bothered about something. You need to actually go and do something about it. It's about taking action. And to me, conscious living, leadership, and business is all about taking action. The consciousness is about who you are within. So, yes, it's coming from a place of love, compassion, empathy, kindness, and more. But then it's taking that out of you and serving and doing something with it. So, to all the people that just get offended and upset by the posts but don't do anything about it, sorry, I'm never ever going to stop. And I have said to numerous people, please just unfriend me, block me, do whatever you need to do. It's not going to upset me, and it's not going to stop. And in fact, some of the guys that I actually support, patrons that I give money to every month from our business, some of the huge animal rights activists out there, I just think, well, you want to see their feeds if you think mine's bad. And I support to them because they're out there doing the world. Lots of agencies and that we support that are actually going out there, people that are like Amnesty or like the International Justice Mission, that actually go out into the countries and they unravel the trafficking chains and they pull kids out all day long. Are we going to talk about issues like that, and are we going to do something about it, and we're going to raise as much money as we can to give to those people, because they, to me, are the real heroes, because they risk life and limb to go into different territories to try and untangle things. There's lots of legalities, all kinds of things going on. So I think the very least we can do is to read these kind of posts and action as much as we possibly can. And yes, of course, that might mean step by step. So if you're somebody that's still doing dairy and you want to stop dairy, fantastic, start with that. If you're somebody that's eating meat and you want to stop that, start that first. And then just keep building and building and building. And eventually, the more you get into that, the more that you'll then turn back round to the previous life and go, whoa, how did I even live like that? And your body will be healthier. The animals will thank you, and the planet will thank you, and things will evolve further, and the planet will be in a much better state. So anyway, thank you for listening to me. I know I sound like a teacher, don't I? But I am going back into teaching mode. You have to think, people like me that have been on the mats and teaching like forever, we just can't help it. So I don't actually mean to come across like that. It's just how I am, and anyone knows me personally just knows this is how I talk all the time. Yeah. and my kids actually, because we do home ed, I mean, they're rolling their eyes because they're like, you know, any eventuality that I can go, oh, this is really fascinating, let's talk about this, and turn it into a lecture. It's like, oh my God. But anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me today for this. I hope you found it some sort of useful. But if anyone's got any questions, needs any help and support on any of the things that I've talked about, please feel free to get in touch, message me, DM me, whatever. But have a wonderful rest of the day and weekend. And I'm just about to jump into our group now and do the live teaching in there if you care to join us. All right, take care. Thanks. Bye bye.